Hello, we're back once again to discuss one of our hot topics this year, which is the social and emotional health of our students. So, we're going to do a quick review of the mental and physical health, the services that we offer for mental and physical health, which is our health and human services and our counseling. When we are talking about health and human services, we're talking about services like our school nurse, the school-based health center, if one does exist on the campus, and then the whole school, whole community, whole child model, which promotes the whole health realm for students. Who is served by these health and human services? All of the students are served by these services. However, the nurse is, as our text discussed, the liaison between school personnel, family healthcare professionals, and the community. So our health and human services program provides three separate things, and those are the three that we just talked about: the school nurse, the school-based health center, and the whole school, whole community, whole child approach. The school nurse is our most obvious player in these three programs. Her role at our school is to care for students, to provide leadership to educators on our campus for health services, to provide health screenings and referrals for students and their families, to promote health in a healthy school environment, and then to kind of be an advocate for health policies and programs. She's also at this time the kind of head person taking in the information about COVID-19 and then making sure that we're all implementing those protocols in our classrooms correctly. She also connects students, families, communities, community members, and professionals wherever there is a need. So our school-based health center is the location, the clinic that provides accessible healthcare, comprehensive healthcare, and healthcare services to families and students, specifically those who might not be able to receive that care outside of school for income reasons or for other reasons. The bulk of what we're going to talk about is our counseling services, and the reason we're going to focus more time on that is because, as you know, our social and emotional learning and leadership is a huge push this year, and so we want to make sure that all teachers understand what services are out there for you to utilize and what services are out there for our students to utilize. So the counseling services through our campus, our counselors can provide services to the community, to just our school, and to individual students. Both of our counselors are licensed. They are they have the credentials necessary to provide trauma services to our students, as well as conduct any type of intervention that might be necessary for any issue that might arise at our school. The programs, there are multiple there. We have 2 slides here that cover what they can do. The school counseling program is just the overall whole school program. When they bring in motivational speakers or bully prevention information, things like that, that is the school counseling program. They also utilize restorative circles and counseling circles for small group interventions, which might address family issues, health or hygiene, transitions, personal violence. When we talk about our friendship circles on our campus for our kids that may be struggling socially with their peers, this is an example of the counseling services that our counselors provide. And then therapy would include more of the intense interventions that are specific to individual students and the circumstances that they are going through. In addition to that, we have guidance curriculum. This is the curriculum that the counselors in our district have put together to implement on our campus. So when we talk about like this year's SEL programs, that we incorporate at the beginning of the school year. That is part of the guidance curriculum for middle schools in our district. That includes the written curriculum itself, the materials that we use. It's reevaluated each year, which is why we've seen changes from year to year in our district. And then it's also determined and prioritized through the data, which is why our district has recently implemented Panorama, which keeps up with this data and the needs of individual students, campus needs, and then whole district needs. The school climate plan is the plan for focusing on the relationships and the relational approaches for our campus. This is the plan that looks at the school-wide needs, focuses on how we can best implement our restorative practices on our campus, and then determines where our social and emotional learning focus should be from year to year. When we talk about who supports these programs, obviously everyone on the campus supports the programs, but it really is a mutual coordination between teachers, counselors, and the nurse, all three sometimes, just the teachers and the counselors sometimes, just the counselors and the nurses sometimes, especially right now with some of the health concerns that families and individual students are going through. And then again, the nurse and the teachers when we're talking about just the necessary health procedures that we must follow for some of our students. As far as monitoring and evaluating, we need to think about a lot of the things that we just talked about, the guidance curriculum, the whole school programs, the small group, restorative practices, all of those things need to be evaluated on an ongoing basis based on the needs of the student population that we're currently serving. That is looked at each year by our health committee that is currently formed, but members of that committee kind of rotate in and out depending on who's on it. And they look at the policies and procedures, the programs that are currently in place or need to be put in place, and then the data that supports that. And then if adjustments need to be made, those adjustments are made by that committee. Some misconceptions surrounding these two these two programs, the health and human services programs and the counseling services, are one of the biggest ones is that counselors should be in charge of schedules and state testing. So a lot of times we think of our counselors as the ones who create our students' schedules and then who get everything organized for the STAR test, and that's not true. Our administrators work very hard to protect the counselors' time so that they can meet the needs of the student needs on our campus at a social and emotional level to make sure that their mental health and their physical health leads to success. They are involved in schedules. They are mostly involved in schedules when that is related to meeting the need of a student, either through accommodations or a IEP or 504 plan, or due to emotional, mental, physical needs, or the same thing for state assessments. The second misconception is that counselors and nurses are separate and apart from teachers and what is happening in the classroom. And really, a successful school program for mental and physical health embeds all of these elements into each other. A successful school implements programs in the classroom, like in the science class, when they talk about health and hygiene, or building in time for restorative circles when there is a need for that in a grade level, in a classroom, on a campus. Additionally, teachers need to understand and be aware of the resources that these two programs offer on our school and how they can utilize them in their classroom. And then also the process for referring students to either the health and human services program, the nurse, or our counseling program with our counselors. And that will be a discussion for a later training about the process of referring students should you have a concern. And that is all. Have a wonderful day.